What does it take for a sports organisation or a sports person to secure corporate support? We got fascinating insights on the show this week from patients Musa from Banc ABC, who are sponsoring the Banc ABC Roots Impact Programme. Also going to hear from ZIFA, from Mike Madoda, on what this means for grassroots development in the country. 2 months of action is coming up shortly. Plus lots on the PSL, of course, with the Battle of Zimbabwe ending in a draw and resounding performances from Hardrock and from leader Scotland as well. All coming up in this week's edition.
Fanzone, united by the game, powered by Moore's World of Sport.
Hello there, welcome along to Fanzone, your leading Zimbabwean sport podcast. I'm Steve Vickers. Sips away this week, and the Battle of Zimbabwe ending in a 1-1 draw at Barbourfields. Exciting game between Highlanders and Dynamos, getting into that. Meanwhile, Scotland 5 points clear of Hardrock at the top of the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League. Both teams with resounding victories over the weekend. So lots on the PSL as always. And for a long time, fans have been crying out for much more youth development, much more grassroots football development in Zimbabwean football. And we're focusing on that today because in a few days' time, the Banc ABC Roots Impact Programme is kicking off 2 months of action, and we're going to be finding out all about that. And from Banc ABC, we have Patience Musa here. Hi, Patience.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing great, thanks. Good to have you with us.
It's good to be here talking about football.
You're getting into football in a big way at Banc ABC.
Yes, indeed we are, and this is a very proud moment for us, and we're hoping that this is something that we'll be able to do for some years to come.
Which is very good news for Zimbabwean sports. So we will be getting into that shortly. Also with us, representing ZIFA, especially with regards to the Banc ABC Roots Impact Programme, Mike Madoda is here. Hi, Mike.
How's it, Steve?
Excellent.
No,
well,
good to be on the show, and thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, and good news for youth football, yeah?
Absolutely. I think this is the sort of marriage that we are after in Zimbabwe sport. I don't think the national sports associations can do it alone. And it's always good to have corporates like Banc ABC come on board to add their value, to add their ideas, and propel Zimbabwe football forward.
Lots then coming up on the Banc ABC Roots Impact Programme. Mike at Power FM, Patience is a ZFM presenter, and we've got Star FM here as well. It's an eclectic radio panel here. Simba Chiminya, Star FM sportscaster. Hi, Simba.
Hi, Steve. Nice to be back on the show. Lots to talk about Scotland, hoping that 5-point lead. Cape United seems to be losing steam. And also talk about Dynamos Highlanders.
Yeah, concern for Caps fans definitely, and Simba's got all the Division 1 news as well. Let's start with the big game, the biggest fixture on the calendar. 1-1 it was between Highlanders and Dynamos on Sunday at Barbourfields. Exciting game, good intensity there. A penalty at the end of the first half, which was won by Mongameli Chuma and put away by the Nigerian Benjamin Adiogun. Then Ghanaian Frank Ajamang was to get the equaliser in the second half after a magnificent run through the midfield from Perfect Chikwende, making his way across past 3 opponents and finished off by Ajamang. Served up very well for him. Then Mongameli Chuma, he missed a sitter in the closing stages right in front of goal, but wasn't able to find the target. So for Highlanders fans, I guess, Simba, that should have been a match-winning moment, but you could say that a draw was a fair result.
Yeah, but you look at what was happening at Highlanders during the course of the week, the strike, everything else, negative things that could have saved the energy out of the players. But I would say that Highlanders really started the game well and dominated, and it was befitting that they got the lead first. Of course, it was from a penalty spot, and in the second half, they could also have killed the game. That chance that fell to Mongameli Chuma, but I've seen so many people attacking the player, but I think that he's also a victim of his own success in terms of the way that he also gets into those scoring positions. Yes, people expect you to finish those chances, but I think he is the player that has been carrying Highlanders in big games. Look at the game that they played against Dynamos. That was the first game that he announced himself in the reverse fixture. In this game, he won them the penalty and also created those chances. And it's unfortunate that he couldn't score, but it was a lively game. And from the Dynamos end, I thought the coach was also spot on. The substitution that he made in the first half, because in a big game, you don't need to wait when the damage is already done. And taking out Anotidashe Gwatidzo and moved Frank Ajeman wide to the left, and then put Kasondo as a target man was good for them. And Perfect Chikwende, I think that he's also a player that is made for the big games, the way that he also controlled, he had the ball from Dynamos from the midfield going forward. And Frank Ajeman also raising his hand to be counted on the big stage, especially these big games. 9 goals so far for him, and you look at him, you can't say what really happened to him this season. He's a different player from the one that he was last year. He had only 1 goal, but now 9 goals in 19 games is something that is really commendable for him.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying, is Frank Ajeman. Benjani, after the game, the Highlanders coach, said they did well considering that they hadn't trained the whole week. But you've got to say that they should have trained the whole week, shouldn't they, Simba?
Yeah, on a lighter note, you'd hear from the Highlanders fans, they're saying that, once they go into a game without training, they know that they are not going to lose the games that they've won so far this year. They haven't, they went into those games without training, but it's something that you'd not want every time now and again, that you have players are not training when you're going for such a big game or another game. And you look where Highlanders are and look where the pacesetters are, you'd think that if they were pulling in one direction, probably they would have been up there with the chasing pack. So it's something that you would not want in a team, but then credit you have to give it to the players, because even in terms of the intensity that they had, it wouldn't look like they didn't train the whole week.
Yep, definitely. So 2-2 it was at Rufaro Stadium. Maybe we say Highlanders win on away goals, is it? As it was 3-3 over the 2 games. From a footballing point of view, Mike, another massive turnout, this time at Barbourfields. The crowds have been so good this season.
Absolutely brilliant. And I think it's a testament to the fact that there's a lot of positives to take out of a game at the moment. And usually they say that the only yardstick to use in football is bums on seats. And so the fans have responded by showing up in the different stadia. And it's credit to teams that have really started to engage with the audience, and I think that's created a lot of curiosity. Still a lot of areas of improvement around the game, the matchday experience, etc. But I think fans have generally voted with their feet, and we saw that tremendous crowd at Barbourfields. Highlanders traditionally always receive great support out at Barbourfields Stadium. Previously, if you went maybe 4 or 5 seasons ago, would have been talking about Highlanders only in terms of consistent support, but we have seen great crowds show up at Moores Ngoni Stadium in Norton. We have seen obviously Scotland patronised by a number of supporters. The Caps United fans are back as well, buoyed by that phenomenal start to the season. Dynamos fans, there's a bit of belief there as well. They had a great start to the season, so there have been great crowds all around. Simbabora was a nice stadium out in Shamba, another stadium as well, which is always packed to the rafters, whether it's Simbabora or Agama.
Yeah, bumper crowd it was at Barbourfields. Patience, you've got Dynamos in your blood, so a point for you, yeah?
Yes, but I must say that I'm enjoying your guys' banter on football, and hopefully football will find its way back to my heart at some point. But for now, I will just be a supporter from far away.
Right. Well, it was a great occasion, it was. So, meanwhile, the business end at the top of the league, Simba, Scotland winning 2-0 at the Banc ABC Stadium against Ngezi Platinum Stars, who had not lost at home since July of last year. So that was almost a whole year that they had gone unbeaten at home. This time, Scotland were again too good for them, yeah?
Yeah, it was a huge statement of intent from Scotland that they really mean business. And when you look at that team, the guys that are scoring, every week you're talking about either Kama Biliata or Knowledge Msona, Panashem Timbanyoka or Walter Msona also getting in there. And then we have now Kama Biliata getting on to score his goal, and he is now on 8 goals so far this season. And then you have, we've been talking about Moses Chidolo, the way that he has also been doing business in the midfield. And from the time that he went back into the midfield, because at the start of the season he was playing as a right back after losing his position to Abubakar Moffat, and then after Abubakar Moffat went to the Warriors Unity Cup, and from that time that Moses Shidolo was given the nod in that game against Capes United. He has never put a foot wrong. And with also the transfer window coming up and more players being signed by Scotland, I don't think that Scotland, every player that is chosen to start in that first team would want to lose that starting position. And that competition is healthy for the team. And going into that game, people thought probably it was Ngezi Platinum Stars who were going to stop Scotland. But like I said before a few weeks ago, that if Scotland are going to drop the ball, it is going to be them, not other teams, because the way that they are playing at the moment, I don't see any other team stopping them. And one thing that they are also doing is they are putting focus on the CAF Champions League, and they want to make sure that they amass as much points as possible before they got disturbed by the Champions League. But looking at even the players that are rumored to be on their way to Scotland right now, Nixon Yasulu from FC Platinum is already in Scotland. So you'd find that there is no stopping from Scotland.
Yeah, for me the only question mark is the rigours of the CAF Champions League, but if they're far enough ahead, and they're 5 points clear now, so they're in such a strong position. We believe the ruling on the Hardrock Dynamos game could come out this week for that abandoned match. At the moment it's a 5 point gap, but should Hardrock get the 3 points, if they do, that'd make it 2. And Hardrock 4-0 victors over ZPC Kariba. They were just dominant and they were on fire, Simba.
Yeah, what a way to bounce back. That defeat to Scotland, and after such, you need to find a way to bounce back. And if you're in the title race, you need to win such small against such small teams, so to speak, like ZPC Kariba. You need to show your pedigree, and they did that. And for Washington Avaya, the reigning soccer star of the year, Golden Boot winner last year, and then a brace in that game. Now he is on 10 goals at par with Ralph Kawandera. And then you have, we've been talking about the impact of the foreign players. Neliswa Hlamini, he has been really good in the midfield, getting a wonder strike, a goal in that game. And also Donald Mdadi, at some point he was also losing his place in the team, but coming in strongly with an assist and also a goal. So there's nothing that you really ask for more as a Hardrock to win by such a big margin. And also look, they are going away to Chicken in the next game, and you make sure that you are within the touching distance of Scotland. And now for them the hope is just that Scotland slip up, and then they get to the same level on points with them, or they just go above them.
Yeah, Hardrock, so exciting the way that they're playing, but Scotland were clearly better when they beat them weekend before last. We'll get to Caps United shortly, what's happening with them, but let's give you our team of the week. A lot of very good performances over the weekend, Matchday 19, and in goal we've gone for Nelson Chajiga for Scotland. 15 clean sheets in 19 games for Scotland, so their defence clearly is doing a lot correct. Kevin Moyo, one of their centre backs, is our team of the week too. Our left back in defence, Luckmore Mutumbi for Highlanders, outstanding in defence, and just restricted Dynamos a bit on the wing because he was so strong. We're giving Ralph Kawandera a place in our team of the week as well for Rentals. He can play various positions during the course of the game. Starts out as a centre-back sometimes, and he got the difference with that 2-1 win against Caps United. Moses Shidolo in midfield, as Simba says, the Namibian, outstanding for Scotland. Beautifully taken goal, driven in fantastically by Shidolo, who impresses week after week. Donald Madadi for Hardrock. He was on fire. He got a goal, he got an assist, and also was involved in another of the 4 goals in the win over ZPC Kariba. He had a brilliant game. Also in midfield for Hardrock, Neliswa Hlamini, as Simba says, a wonder strike. If you haven't seen it, it's worth looking it up on social media. 35 yards out, he smashed the ball in. That's one of the goals of the season so far for Hlamini. He makes it in our team of the week for that. Perfect Chikwende for Dynamo, so influential in the big game there. We're putting in Mongameli Chuma for Highlanders. You can agree or disagree because he missed that big chance, but he won the penalty and was involved in a lot of Highlanders' positive play there. So we're giving Mongameli a place there. Up front, Washington Navaya with those 2 goals. We could have put Sambulo Simelane for Hardrock as well, because he put the crosses over for both of those close range finishes for Navaya. And Frank Ajamang for Dynamos, another good game for him. That's our team of the week. As always, you can agree or disagree. You can post your comment. We love to hear your thoughts there. And for our player of the week, we're going to give it to Donald Mudadi. As Simba says, he's back on top form and he had a brilliant game there. So you can put a comment if you agree or disagree. If you think we left some players out as well, it was a good match day with lots of excellent performances. Match day 20, big highlights. Scotland Manika Diamonds is going to be a Friday game. On Saturday, Caps Triangle and Chicken Inn Hardrock, which I think could be one of the most interesting games, Simba, with the Chicken Inn finally having ended a bad run.
Yes, indeed, and also the fact that Chicken Inn are back at Barbourfields Stadium, it seems that Lady Luck was not on them, playing at Barbourfields Stadium, and after that win, it gives them the confidence. Innocent Masiwa, one of the strikers, getting to score, and also Joseph Tulani. So it's going to be a really difficult game for Hardrock, but this is a game that you also need to stand out and be counted, because the last time they were away, it was here they lost to Scotland, and also the other time they were away, they were held to a goalless draw by FC Platinum, a venue where other teams have gone and come returned with 3 points. So it's a must-win game for Hardrock.
Yeah, it's going to be a big test for them. Right, to the Fanzone Predictor. How are you doing if you are playing the Predictor this season? I'm back in the top 20. I did very well this past weekend. I got the Highlanders Dynamos correct scoreline, had my joker on a Hardrock 2-0 win, although they won 4-0, but a nice 14 points there. On top, Deportivo La Macd, still in a clear lead, 890 points. Mike Hejo is on 839, and Timola is on 839, tied for second place. A lot of fun, great prizes in the Fanzone Predictor. You can go to the website and join up there, fanzone.co.zw. Talking Banc ABC Roots Impact programme shortly, but before that, Simba, Division 1 roundup, lots to talk about.
Yeah, lots to talk about, and so tight in the northern region and the eastern region. And we start with the northern region, and we'll be talking the previous weeks that every week we have one of the top 4 teams, being at the top. And at the weekend, we saw Black Rhinos moving top after a 3-0 win over Black Mambas. It was a uniformed forces derby, and the top strikers coming to the party towards the end of that game. Nigel Wunga getting to score. If you remember him, he was part of the Shaban Mine, a team that won the Banc ABC Super 8. We have Banc ABC in the studio, and one of the players that played in that final in 2013 getting to score, and Robert Nyakwanga also getting a brace in that game. And Harare City, which had occupied the top spot going into the game, they were held to a goalless draw by Chegutu Pirates and Golden Eagles in third position. They also played a draw against GNT Mining, and also Ngezi Platinum Stars under 19. They could also get a win in that game, so it was advantage to Black Rhinos. And then there are also midweek games coming, and Black Rhinos have got a tough game away to GNT Mining at Fupajena Stadium, and then Harare City in second position, they are going to play against Crembon Bullets at Kelly Sports Club. So these are the top 2 teams that will be in action, and Golden Eagles will be away to Palm FC at Murio Maina in Mtorashanga. And then the team that is in number 4 and number 5, and gets the Platinum, they are going to play against Chingwere. So you look at the margin, they are very fine. Black Rhinos on 30 points, and then Harare City on 29 points, and then we have Golden Eagles on 26, and then Ngezi Platinum Stars on 25, and Chingwere on 24 points. So very tight there in the Northern Region Soccer League. And then you come to the Central Region Soccer League, and it's still Chapungu who are leading, and they managed a 1-0 win over Grand Tigers at the weekend. And Gwanda Pirates, they lost to Shabani Mine. Remember last year the match made so much headlines because of the violence, but then this time around it was peaceful and Shabani Mine won 1-0. And Kwekwe United, they started in the game against Tungogara. It was a Kwekwe derby and it ended goalless, and Blanket Mine managed to move into second position after a 2-0 win over Sabi Gold Mine. So this midweek again, we are going to have Chapungu playing Shurugwi. It's going to be a derby, a tough one for them. And then you have Blanket Mine in second position in a derby again. They're going to play against the Tarapi Gwanda at Pelandaba Stadium. And then Gwanda Pirates, they are going to play against MSU in the midweek. They'll be traveling to Gweru. So you look at the top, and then you have Chapungu on 32 points, and then Blanket Mine on 28 points. And then you have Kwekwe United and Gwanda Pirates also in the mix in the top teams. And then you come to the eastern region, so much competition again, and Tenex managing to move ahead of Yada into top position. Of course, they were held to a 1-0 draw by Bikita Minerals at home, but Yada, they lost to Renko Mine, which is in 8th position, and it was a tough game for them because not many teams have gone to Renko Mine and managed to come with the 3 points. And also, it was a good outing for Greenfield, a former PSO side. And I think since the coming in of Tao Mangwiro as the technical director, they've gone on a good run. They managed a 5-1 win over Buffaloes, and they are now tied on the same points with Yada. They are now on, both on 31 points. They are ahead on goal difference. And then Tenex on 32 points. Deportivo Lamrambinda, and many people have been, looking at the name, and they are punching above their weight. And they are just 2 points behind the log leaders, Tenex. So they are on 30 points, managed a comfortable 3-0 win of Power FC. And for Deportivo Lamrambinda, 4 Ghanaians that have been doing well. George Ado, who is one of the best players so far and was named the Eastern Region Player of the Month for May. And in the Southern Region, it seems like not much competition for 1K because they managed to open a 6-point lead at the top. They managed to have a 3-0 win over Black Rock, and they are now 6 points ahead. And their cause was also helped by the fact that the two teams that are number 2 and number 3, Television and Jordan, they had a derby, and Tukakazi derby in Filabusi, and it ended in a goalless draw, and it was good for them. And Blair Warriors, they are 4th. They managed a 1-0 win over Zebra Revolution. And you look at the log standings there, it's Wange on top on 32 points, and then you have Talent Vision, they are on 28 points, and Jordan on 27 points.
Well, you just got to love Zimbabwean football, hey, Mike. Deportivo.
La Morambinda.
La Coruña?
La Morambinda.
Is he human, though? The numbers, the points,
Yes.
the names.
We'll be doing
How
the
do
same
you
to
remember
Banc
so
ABC
much?
Roots program. So we've got the database of who played in the
Wow.
Banc. Yeah,
I'm
ABC.
so impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're wondering, Simba doesn't have any notes for the Division 1 roundup. There's no teleprompter with notes. Everything is memorized. I don't know how he does it, but absolutely astonishing. Thanks, Simba. So, good news for Zimbabwean football. As fans, we've been crying out for the longest time for more grassroots development, more youth projects, and we have got the Banc ABC Roots Impact Programme kicking off on the 4th of July with games taking place at first in Masvingo, in Harare and Bulawayo. Also there'll be games over the course of the following 2 months in Mutare and in Gweru as well. $200,000 sponsorship. Patience Musa representing Banc ABC. Great to have you on Fanzone. Tell us more.
Well, Banc ABC has always been a fan of Zimbabwean sports, especially football. If you look back, at some point we were sponsoring Highlanders, we're also sponsoring Dynamos, but this is something that we hadn't done in a very long time, and we were missing, that passion. So last year we started talking about it. We wanted to get involved in football, but we wanted to get involved in a big way that would be impactful. as Banc ABC, we like to support youth and communities. So we found this would be a way for us to be able to do both. So actually find something that we could use as a tool to nurture discipline, nurture financial literacy, and as well as passion for life, and just to be able to let our youth know that corporates are standing with them, and no matter what they do, we'd like to stand with them.
So this is something where these players only come into the limelight maybe 10 years from now,
Yes.
but they'll say that maybe they were discovered or groomed through this program.
True, and we also acknowledge that we're putting together, well, ZIFA is putting together all these teams, and some of them will pursue football all the way. Some of them will be tomorrow's scientists. Some of them will be tomorrow's leaders, tomorrow's bankers, even tomorrow's Banc ABC customer.
Yeah. Right, and do you want to tell us more about how it's working? It's boys and girls, yes?
Yes, it's both boys and girls, but to give us more information on that, I think I'll have to ask Michael to explain exactly how it's working, because this is a process that has already started with training, and so we're just standing back, making sure that everything is in place, and giving ZIFA as much support as we can.
Okay, Mike.
100%. Thank you for that, Patience. And I think off the bat, as the Zimbabwe Football Association, we are tremendously grateful for Banc ABC investing in the future of Zimbabwe football, because that's what the Roots Impact initiative is all about. It's an initiative that's been brought about in order to assist in the growth of grassroots football in Zimbabwe. And youth development is, by its very nature, whether it's in Africa, Europe, Asia, or South America, is very expensive. There are rarely returns on investment. In terms, it's not a cash business. We're not producing cell phones and selling them and declaring dividend at the end of the year. But we are investing in human capital, investing in the youth of the game. And that's what this initiative really looks at, supporting the growth of grassroots football in Zimbabwe. It's an area that has been deficient in Zimbabwe football, hence our hit or miss approach to success. As far as our international football is concerned, because we have a golden generation here and a golden generation there. But how do you keep successive golden generations going? Like Morocco has done, like Senegal has done. You do so by coming up with initiatives where you are investing in the youth, creating structured pathways from the communities through to the districts, through to the provinces, and then the regions, and then eventually international selection. So we're so grateful that Banc ABC has come on board, given their investment, powered this program with their dollars to make sure that our young players in our communities are receiving structured competition, they're receiving proper coaching, they're also getting education for life, because the statistics, Steve, you and I will know that only 2% of youth footballers that go through the academy system eventually make it as professional footballers. But what Banc ABC is doing is ensuring that after they grow through this process, they're better human beings. They contribute to society, not just to Zimbabwe football. So that's what this program looks to achieve. It looks to make sure that Zimbabwe has got better youth footballers, but above all, make sure that Zimbabwe's got better citizens.
So there's a whole load of benefits with this. The ZIFA Technical Director will be overseeing all of this?
100%. So the formulation of this initiative is really a great one, because like Patience pointed out, that it started off with the launch that was held at the end of January, and thereafter I think the initial disbursement of funds went into the provinces, which allowed the provinces to set up their own technical teams and scouting networks, which have been at work for the last 4 months, identifying youth footballers at under 14 and under 16 levels for both boys and girls, so there's no one being left behind, identifying the best players in their provinces, and then coming up with the squads that will now compete in the Banc ABC Roots Impact Leagues. And so these guys have been hard at work, and obviously everything is being overseen by the technical department at ZIFA, which is headed by Dominic Niozima, the technical director. as well as, of course, a head of talent identification, that is Jacob. He's been working, making sure that they're working with the provincial administrators to make sure that they've got the best of coaches, the best of support, and that they're able to put together these squads that will now start competing in competition starting on the 4th.
And they're playing as well, they're playing as provinces?
Yes, they are playing as provinces. So each province is coming up with 4 teams. The under 14 boys, the under 14 girls, under 16 boys, and under 16 girls. And they will then compete in a structured round robin format. They'll play each other once at 4 national hubs, and those 4 national hubs are Gweru, Masvingo, Harare, as well as Bulawayo. So the teams will meet there. They'll play 2 matches per weekend, and they'll go through, of course, a league program that will see them play a total of 9 games. So everyone gets to play each other in this structured competition. And whilst that's happening, it allows our coaches, it allows our scouts to run their eye over these boys and girls and make sure that we are picking the best of talent for our national teams, because that's always been the big debate, isn't it? When national squads are announced at under 15, under 17 level, people are often asking the question, how have you got this list of boys? Well, here's the answer. And I think Banc ABC has come to the fore and helped us come up with a structured competition, a structured format that gives the platforms for scouts and coaches to be able to pick the best in the country to represent Zimbabwe.
Yeah, it's exciting. How many years have you committed for, Patience?
Well, so far we've committed to 2026, but it is looking quite positive that we'll be running it the next few years to come. Just like Mike was saying, the impact it's going to have, and I think it will make our football more interesting in the next coming years, and we'll be able to see Zimbabwe fully participating in, FIFA, and really being able to fully support that. And we love to be part of this story.
Tell us what made you buy into this as Banc ABC, because we have a lot of sports people and teams saying we're pleading for corporate support. Our junior team needs boots maybe, or my boxer needs money for gloves or to travel, but it takes a lot more than just a basic plea for support, doesn't it? What sold this to you as Banc ABC?
I think it's the outcome for us. It's the outcome, looking at these young football stars and who they will become and what they'll become in the future. And really, as a bank, we are often looking at empowering young people. And there's nothing that a lot of Zimbabweans are passionate at like football. It brings together people from different walks of life. And this really feels like the perfect thing to do. But you were asking, what makes it different? I think with a lot of proposals that we get, it's about finding that thing that gives the sponsorship longevity. Okay, we'll buy some boots, and then what happens after that? So ZIFA was able to give us the answers to that and the confidence that they'll be able to carry it through. And so far, we are so not disappointed, and we're looking forward to the future.
Yeah.
And if I could just chime in there, Steve, I think just to build on what Patience is saying is that previously, a lot of associations that have preceded the administration of Ngobile Magwizi and this current executive committee have gone in with the begging bowl, which is, please help us, give us money. But this current executive committee has really created value points, which is to say, there must be a fair exchange of value. What is actually there on the table that would excite a corporate, where they can leverage on the project at hand to be able to build their brand, build brand equity, and also to have the touch points that they want in communities. So there is a value exchange that's there. It's not just ZIFA going in and saying, would love money to do this, but we're also saying, okay, here's our proposal. Here's how it works for ZIFA, which is important because it's football development, but here's how it also works for Banc ABC, so that they're able to tick boxes that make sense for them. And this particular one addresses, I think, a very key thing that I think Ngobile Magwizi promised at the onset of his tenure and even in his campaign, which is obviously grassroots development, and that ZIFA cannot do it alone. They have to do it with corporate support, but in that corporate support, you have to give value to whoever is partnering with you.
So this is it's not a donation, it's an exchange where there's value both ways.
It is, and it's so important to have those initial sit-downs. I think a lot of people just put together a document, like Mike says, and they beg. But it's also important to sit down with the corporate and find out what it is they're hungry for, what their needs are, what their policies about, so that then we are feeding each other instead of the one party just taking.
So insights there, if you're a sports administrator or sports person, if you are looking for support, you need to be defining exactly what value you're giving to the potential sponsor. So really exciting, all of this. We sort of sense there's been a hesitancy when it comes to football and corporate support over at least the last couple of decades. Has it been seen as risky territory? Maybe you'd rather sponsor a marathon or the cricket team, and football's been a little bit risky. What's the feeling among corporates?
I can't speak for all corporates, obviously.
Don't be shy. Be honest.
But I think he's been emphasizing it quite a bit, because it's about the past and what has happened in the past. A lot of corporates have had quite different experiences in the past. And once bitten, twice shy. So you look at these sponsorships and you wonder, okay, is this money really going to go where it needs to go? Is it going to really make the change that we want it to make? So it's that, and also looking at it that people tend to think that football has a lot of sponsorship, but you discover once you really look deeper that there isn't much there. It's not enough. So we realize that it's not enough, but at the same time, we are also supporting other sports as well. We support high school rugby for both boys and girls, and we are always looking into other places as well where we can make an impact.
Mike, you said a little bit about safeguarding, because we have hosted 3 big international youth tournaments in the course of the inside the past year. CASAFA Under-17, the CAF Girls Gift, and biggest of all was the CAF Schools Championship back in April. All of these have had safeguarding officers, because these kids travel, and safeguarding seems to be a very big, important part of youth and junior football these days.
100%. There's no way you can hold such an initiative without safeguarding being at the very core of the program, without it being an emphasis. You mentioned those programs. Those programs have helped capacitate the association insofar as understanding not just the importance of safeguarding, but how to actually put the systems and structures in place that make sure that the child, the girl child, the boy child, their interests are always paramount. ZIFA has also been deliberate about upskilling and making sure that our officers are trained in that regard. And so we've recently had guys who have been going through the program. We've graduated at FIFA headquarters in Zurich. And now an important facet of this program is that each team is going to have a safeguarding officer, not each province. So we're talking about each team has got a safeguarding officer, just to make sure that someone is keeping an eye and protecting the interests of the children. But more than that, one of the legacy workshops which we are holding in tandem with the league program is to make sure that we train even more safeguarding officers, and we are opening this up to school teachers, we are opening this up to academic coaches, we are opening this up to members of the community who work with school children, who work with football teams, that they can attend these legacy programs, receive the coaching, the education, the upskilling that they need to make sure that they are more than just safeguarding officers at ZIFA, but that safeguarding officers now begin to be there in our schools and in our communities.
That's protecting children basically from abuse
100%.
in various forms.
And I should add, that's one of the reasons we find this partnership, this marriage attractive, because they actually put together an entire document on safeguarding children, and also the involvement of parents. So whilst we were thinking of it, we didn't actually think they would put together a whole document. So
It's a new ZIFA page.
so I was reading it and I was impressed. I was like, you know, we never even went that far, but they're taking care of every single detail. So we are happy and we're waiting to start.
Well, exciting stuff. So those who'd like to benefit from the safeguarding courses, Mike, how do they get in touch?
100%. So we will be advertising on the ZIFA platforms, the usual ZIFA platforms. I think we're available across all social media platforms. And of course, we'll also be, no doubt, getting a lot of support from Banc ABC as the sponsors as well to open up their platforms where we can share information on how you can register for these legacy courses, especially the safeguarding one. She already touched on financial literacy as well, where we're going to be inviting school children, not just the participants, but just generally school children around the 4 centres where competition is going to be held to come and attend these classes which are being held by Banc ABC. To obviously capacitate our children. And more than that, I think we've got CAF D coaching courses to make sure that we move away from the teacher in charge syndrome, where, you know, the guy who's running the football program at a school is just a guy who had a bit of a kickabout when he was in school and has got a passion for the sport. He's always at Trufaro supporting Caps United or Dynamos, and now he fancies himself as a coach. But we're saying, you know what, let's move away from that syndrome and make sure that they are actually proper coaches at school level, in our schools, in our communities, who are coaching these kids. So they're going to be CAF D coaching courses that are going to be run. We also have a young referees program that's going to be up and running as well, in tandem with the Banc ABC Roots initiative, to also start getting the next generation of referees as well to get into the game. So there's so many initiatives, so many things that are happening in and around the Banc ABC Roots Impact Leagues and program to excite not just the youngsters who are actually playing the football, but everyone who's involved in the game, whether you're a teacher, a parent, or even just someone with a remote interest in the development of grassroots football in Zimbabwe. There is a role for you to play, thanks to ABC, Banc ABC.
Well, yeah.
In addition, just so I could add a little bit of flesh to our financial literacy events, we'll be having these at every single province. And like Mike said, all students are welcome. So we'd like to encourage students that are watching right now, parents, guardians, to just get their kids to find out from the school how they can actually register. It's so important. I think we've all experienced and watched how sometimes football stars fail to manage their finances properly. No matter how talented they are, somehow they lose it when it comes to money. So we want to play a big part there. We definitely know that this initiative is going to bring out some superstar in the next 10 years.
100%,
and it's going to be a superstars that will be able to manage their money better because of these events that they attended. So, we encourage all the students, primary school, high school, please register. You may grab 5, 2, or maybe even one thing that will save you in your adulthood.
Yeah.
It's a whole broad package.
Steve,
yeah.
she talked about, you asked earlier, how long is the sponsorship? Look, I love the way she's talking, because she's already projecting into the future.
Yeah.
And we cannot have that golden generation that will take us the World Cup on a 1-year sponsorship.
Indeed.
So I'm glad she's beginning to look to the future, because you know what? We need to be at the World Cup. We need to move from just being spectators to actual participants at tournaments such as the World Cup. But it starts with investments at grassroots.
Well, yes, indeed. Give us finally the handles where we can sign up and read all about the Banc ABC Roots Impact Program.
So what we can encourage you to do now is just to look out for these posts on Banc ABC platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, X, as well as ZIFA, because we certainly will be putting up something. The games start on the 4th of July, so I'm sure we'll be putting something up around that time.
100%. We've got a fully functional website now, zifa.co.zw. That is the central hub of all our communications. And then, like Patience said, again, we are on Facebook. We've got a WhatsApp channel that's growing. Be a part of the movement. We are on X, we're on Instagram. And there'll be a lot of content that's going to be put out just in terms of how you can get information on them. But the most important thing is that the 4th of July, it all gets underway. And thereafter, we'll be running the program for 2 months.
Right. Well, Patience Mike, thank you so much. Long may the partnership continue. It's great for football. It's great for Zimbabwean football fans. And that's where you can find out more information and sign up on the ZIFA website. So we'll be following that here on Fanzone. Let's go beyond the pitch briefly as international assignments over the weekend. Women's cricket, Zimbabwe managed to win the Kwibuka T20 tournament in Rwanda, beating Rwanda by 1 run in the final, just about doing it. Oh, the Sables losing 40-0 to South Africa A. We knew that was going to be a very, very tough assignment, and we'll look at positives there. Tough lesson. Next they head to the USA for the Nations Cup. Davis Cup, for me that's a disaster as we remain in Group 4, losing to Ghana in the playoff. It's the lowliest we've ever been as we spent 3 years in the top tier back in the early 2000s. This one's really disappointing for me, Simba. Davis Cup tennis, we couldn't get out of Group 4.
Yeah, very disappointing, Steve, particularly when you see us losing to the countries like Ghana, with all due respect. But look where we were in the past and where Ghana were in the past. But for us, it shows that instead of moving forward, you're moving backwards. And we shouldn't be where we are at the moment. And it's something that is really of concern. We are talking about grassroots development here with Banc ABC. And I think the authorities that be should also be looking at this to say that we shouldn't be spectators, like what Mike said. We should be the participants, and we shouldn't be looking at other better playing tennis countries. We should be among them, participating like what we used to do before.
So maybe we need to challenge other corporates. Let's challenge other corporates to take on tennis as well as
another Roots Impact program.
Yes, and, yeah. So Banc ABC is challenging other corporates to take up some Roots program with some of these sports, and let's get back to the places that we were and beyond and better.
Thanks for that, because we are threadbare in terms of tennis. We really, really are at the moment. It's never been as low in our Davis Cup history. Cricket fans, one-off test. Zimbabwe-Bangladesh Harare Sports Club starts on Sunday. That's going to be exciting, Mike. Yeah, good occasion.
100%, and quite fancy our boys. And so there's been a lot of great work that's been done in Zimbabwe cricket, just like Zimbabwe rugby. I know you talked about that 40-0. It looks like a mauling to what was ostensibly a South African seaside. But I think for me it was a great result for our boys, a great platform, especially as they build up to the World Cup. But getting back to the cricket as well, I've loved the fact that Zimbabwe cricket have managed to make sure that we've got a full international calendar, playing nations of varying strength. And nations that will test us in different conditions. And so Bangladesh is one of those nations. We've seen how they've competed versus Australia. Done so, they were blown away in the T20 series, but in the one-day international series, they were absolutely game. Yep. And when they bring their best, they're very competitive, and so our boys will need to be at their best. Sure,
all the best to the Chevrons there with the visitors, Bangladesh. Just briefly looking ahead to the weekend PSL games, Simba. Bit concerning for FC Platinum. 2 defenders are leaving, the 2 Malawian defenders, Precious Piri and also Nixon Nyasulu, and the results are not coming for FC Platinum.
For me, when I look at that, it's more or less like they are conceding that this year they are no longer in the title race because you have Nixon Nyasulu, and he's one of the best foreign players in the league at the moment, and one of the best players that we have in the league at the moment. And letting him go, I think, in as much as his contract was left with 6 months, if you really value the player and if you really wanted to go for the title, you should have extended his contract by another 2 or 3 years. And for Precious Piri as well, I don't know why they also let him go. And at the start of the season, again, we saw even Mishek Ngwenya leaving. But when you look at Mishek Ngwenya, he is one of the star performers at Hardrock. Is the heart of the defense for them, and just wonder if those players had stayed at FC Platinum and they valued them, where would they have been at the moment? So for me, it's like FC Platinum saying that we are no longer in the title race, or we don't want the title this year. Would rather look forward to next season. For me, which is very concerning, because FC Platinum, just like Ngezi Platinum, Dynamos, Highlanders, Caps United should always be in the mix and should not be surrendering, the title race at this point in time.
Yeah, a quick word on Caps United going into the weekend fixtures. 1 win in 8 games for the former PSL leaders.
If you look at the games that they've won in the last 10 games, they've managed to win with a penalty, which was a last-minute penalty against Dynamos and then against the PC Kariba, which is really concerning. And you look at the goals that they've also shipped in, their defense has not been really good. And we've been talking about Scotland being where they are because of, even you look at the midfield, you look at the defense. But for Caps United, when they were ticking at the start of the season, we were talking about Richard Achiro being compact in the midfield, and he was winning most of the duels. But right now, Richard Achiro is no longer really imposing in midfield, and Lloyd Njaliwa also not really playing well in that position. So you look at Caps United, no shield for the defense from the midfield, and the defense itself not really good. Look at their goalkeeper, Wallace Magalani, and you look at the past games, the game against ZPC Kariba, when you have a situation whereby the fans are turning against their own goalkeeper, it shows you the pressure that is there. And when they played Agama at Wadzana Stadium, and also the fans turning against their coach, it shows you something that is really concerning about the club. Yes, maybe the coming in of Precious Piri might solidify them, something for them in defense, and then the talk that which is Vunga from Super Strikers in Malawi might also be coming. He's a midfielder. Maybe they are going to solidify their midfield and things might change. But there should be confidence coming in from the Caps United team. Because when we look at on paper, even the strike force, Ishmael Wadi, Takunda Benura, and then there is Alain the teenager also in the mix. And then you can't really compare with the Rentals team and where Rentals are. Of course, there's a difference of just a point between the two. But you'd think that, Caps United should be alternating that first team position with the Scotland at the moment.
Yeah. Concerning for Caps, so hopefully they will turn the corner. Our game time competition on our social media, check it out, there's prizes to be won. You enter through the website, you need to fill in the form there. And our question this week, tell us how many appearances did Karma Billiot make for Kaizer Chiefs in South Africa? You can win yourself a prize there, but you need to go to the website to put your entry in. Well, that's it for Fanzone for this week. You can follow, you can like, check out our social media, lots of stories there. There's also Larry's Look at the League on our YouTube page, and you can watch past editions of this show as well. Mike Madoda, Patience, Musa, Simba Chiminia, thank you so much. And may the good times really roll from the 4th of July with the Banc ABC Roots Impact Programme. And thank you very much for making time to be with us on the show today.
Thank you so much, Steve.
A lot of fun with a lot of football. I survived.
You'll enjoy it.
You did great. Thank you so much. So 4th of July is when it starts. 2 months of action in the Banc ABC Roots Impact Programme. That's Fanzone for this week. Thanks a lot for watching.